No matter what you sell, if you pick up the phone to set an appointment and you hear the words, "I'm not interested," and wonder how to deal with it, I'm going to teach you my exact script, how to convert those "I'm not interested" objections into appointments. Coming right up. Hey everybody, it's David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit insurance agents to sell things like final expense Medicare and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. If you happen to like this content, please like it and subscribe to my channel for more. So what we're going to be talking about today is if you sell any kind of product, specifically face-to-face with a prospect, but you use the phone to set an appointment, how do you deal with the "I'm not interested" objection that you'll commonly hear when you're calling to set an appointment and you talk to your client about or prospect about what it is that you sell and how you can help, and they say, "I'm not interested." So before we get into the script, I like to describe the psychology of what you hear, because I think understanding what you're hearing and why people say things like "I'm not interested" will better help you adhere to the script I'm going to eventually share with you. You see, there's a lot of things that are taken for granted when sales trainers give you a script to follow. They just say, "Hey, follow the script. Don't think about it." And while that will work for some people, there's a lot of us out there, probably you since you're watching this video, that need some guidance and understanding why you would use a certain script. Because let's face it, some of these scripts sound silly if you don't understand exactly why you're saying it the way you are. So the purpose of this video, as much as it is to give a script, it is to give you the understanding from a psychological basis of why we say the things that we do, so that ultimately you'll actually follow through in the script, believe in it more, and thus say it more enthusiastically and get better results. So let's talk about, first of all, what "I'm not interested" means. Now, if you've ever picked up the phone and you've actually heard this objection, you probably thought, like, how can they even say "I'm not interested"? They know very little about what you're doing. They don't know the details of your product or service. And how can someone assess an accurate description or an accurate opinion of saying something like "I'm not interested" in a short 5 or 10 second pitch on the phone? The point is that "I'm not interested" can't be actually fully established. And what's actually happening is that "I'm not interested" is a fill-in for some sort of objection for meeting a stranger, or an objection to sit down in a sales or perceived sales stressful environment where they may be pushed into buying something, or they may believe that the idea or product or service being offered is not necessarily makes sense for the business that they're in. The point is, guys, and this is the big thing, what is said many times is not actually what is believed. And we can extrapolate this out to pretty much all objections. The first thing you hear is not actually the in-depth meaning and concern that the prospect really has. So what does that mean for us when we rebuttal on the phone? Well, simply put, it means we have to rebuttal something other than the actual word that is said. So we don't spend time thinking, well, how do I make this person interested? No, we actually rebuttal against the perception, the assumption that what they're saying is, "I don't feel comfortable meeting," or "I'm too busy," or "I've got a lot going on." That's what we want to speak to, not the actual objection, "I'm not interested." Make sense? So once you make this paradigm shift in your mind of understanding that what is said may not necessarily be true, it changes really how you look at all objection rebuttaling strategies. It's not that our clients are so much of being liars. It's just that they're reacting on the spot, on their feet. They don't have time to think and contemplate and give a detailed, thorough answer. They're reacting on the spot, and they're saying something that is maybe half true, but it's also half false. So we have to respond, given that circumstance and situation, that dynamic, with a rebuttal that, again, targets what exactly the underlying issue the client has, with you coming over to potentially pitch them something. So now that you understand the psychology, let's talk about the actual script that I teach insurance agents and salespeople what to use and how to use in order to convert more of those "I'm not interested" rebuttals into appointments. So when your prospect says "I'm not interested" after your pitch, here's how I teach you how to rebuttal. We use what's called the ask method. Here's how it looks. You A, answer the objection. You S, sell the appointment. And then you C, close for the time in which you're going to be there. So here's how the actual script looks when applying the ask method. The client says, "I'm not interested." You rebuttal and you say, hey, that's no problem. All I need is 5 minutes for me to show you how this program works. What you do with this information is entirely up to you. Why don't I swing by at 10 o'clock, or does 2 work better? So this is an example of something we use in insurance sales a lot, where we, again, don't talk about the product. We don't sell the product. We sell the appointment. Why? Because remember, the underlying resistance is just that. They're not necessarily not interested. It's that they're concerned about sitting down with an insurance agent. So here's how the particular approach works. We answer the objection, simply put, saying it's okay. It's okay to have an objection. We're not going to argue with them. They're expecting us to argue. So we answer the objection, just say that's fine, or no problem, or it's okay. And we say it in a way that's not pushy or high pressure. It's very much saying, hey, it's okay. Very dismissive, lowering their defense. Then we go ahead and we sell the appointment. All I need is 5 minutes for me to show you how this program works, or to show you how my service works. What you do with the information is entirely up to you. Now, what that segment does, that particular part of the script, is it's selling that perceived and assumed underlying resistance. All you need is 5 minutes for me to show you how it works. What you do with this is up to you. That's a great line that basically says there's no obligation to buy. This is just me delivering information. We make it a no big deal. There's no stress. It's a quick and casual conversation just to give them useful information that may help them out. So we don't even have to have them buy, in other words, right? Even though it may end up that way. But the idea here is to lower their guard and understand we're not there to sell them anything necessarily, but to help them possibly with something they have a concern with. And of course, the most important last point is you've got to rebuttal with a close. You close, and this close I like to use is, why don't I show up at 10 o'clock, or does 2 work better? How does 10 or 2 sound? Something like that. And give them 2 choices. Don't ask yes or no. That's a common mistake salespeople make when they set an appointment is, do you want to see me? The answer is always no. If an option for a no is there, it's always going to be a no. But if you give them a yes option or a yes option, it's always going to be a yes, right? Or a lot more higher. So by saying 10 o'clock or 2, you're giving them 1 or 2 options of a yes or a yes. Your appointment rate is going to fly through the roof when you use that particular closing strategy, obviously in conjunction with the rest of the rebuttal. So the last thing I'll share with you is, you might be thinking this sounds too simple to work. This is a strategy that seemingly, it doesn't really address the concerns of the potential buyer or the prospect. It sounds like, even possibly diminutive to the prospect. Maybe we're talking down to them. Let me give you an example in my own life where I don't think I'm, a dumb person. I think I'm pretty intelligent, where this has actually worked, not from a salesperson, but from my own kids. So if you have children, you know exactly what I'm about to tell you. And I call it the popsicle story. I remember one time a couple of years ago, I was walking upstairs to go do a conference call. And my toddler at the time, probably Emily or Eva, about 4 or 5 years old, is about 10 in the morning, asked me, hey, can I have a popsicle, Daddy? And I said, no. And I said it with confirmation. I said it with affirmation. And I said it in a way that, me hearing myself saying it, I sounded believable. I sounded slightly irritated. I sounded firm. And of course, kids, not having all this mental baggage that we have about offending people, what did Emily say? Emily said, please, as far as a rebuttal goes. And immediately I stopped, pondered for about a half second, said, yeah, okay, that's fine. And as I continued to walk up the stairs, I observed what had happened. And I thought, wow, I thought I was really convicted with that no, that first thing I said. But upon the rebuttal, I realized I really didn't care that much. But it's funny because I think that's how this works and why this strategy works so well. All adults are big kids, right? So the same kind of psychology still works, especially if you intermix with it some enthusiasm, some energy. You sound excited to talk to them. You don't sound like you're depressed or boring. So use this strategy. It absolutely works. Yes, it's simple. It is old school, but old school is good. At least I think so. A lot of people have great results. We definitely get great results in insurance sales with this. You should try this out no matter what it is you're selling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about selling insurance, especially through my agency, I've got some links for you. Click above or below. It'll take you to how my agency works and give you some useful overview articles on different niches within the insurance business we target to see if what we do is a good fit for maybe possibly getting into the insurance business. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all take care.